Asia is constantly changing, and so is the media landscape.
Everybody wants news now.
We can't be a dinosaur of the past. We have to look toward the future.
Moving away from traditional mediums to more portable means of watching the news.
Online is so fast, it's up and it's out there and it's going throughout the whole world.
It has changed the way the professional journalists cover the news.
Internet is not limited.
Everything is available online.
Of Indian temples and coach.
The more information you have, the more democratic you can get.
School's out in Singapore. Time to check out what's going on. For these 13-year-olds, that means getting out their laptops.
I still do read newspapers, but I'm more to using the internet. Can find anything on the internet.
I use it every day. Usually it's for homework since this is supposed to be a learning device in my school. But in my free time, I usually go Twitter and Facebook. My life is on the internet. My school, everything, is on the internet. Right?
One of Asia's most advanced countries, Singapore is at the forefront of online development. A dynamic society, it's crazy for high tech and the latest fashions. Almost all households here have broadband internet connections, but that's already yesterday's thing. On average, every Singaporean owns more than one mobile phone, and many use it to go online wherever they are.
I probably use internet for 10 hours a day. Mails, websites such as Business Week or Wall Street Journal, just to get an update on latest news. Actually, I always tell my friends and family I'm blessed to be born in the world of internet. Yeah, honestly, it's fantastic.
This also is Asia. Cambodia is less than 2 hours by plane from Singapore, but another world in terms of development. 90% of Cambodians still live in the countryside, making their living in the fields. And even in the cities, most have never been online. But even under these circumstances, a new generation is emerging in Cambodia, one that uses every opportunity to catch up. Also in terms of media usage and going online.
I will go to the internet because it gives me a very fast information that I really want.
I think that without internet, I think like people without use at all, because the thing is that internet is the best source for getting information.
All over Asia, a new generation of media users has emerged. Unlike their parents, these digital natives will always look for information online because they are always online.
5 years ago, the access to internet was not very popular. Now almost all establishments have free Wi-Fi connection.
I have a BlackBerry and another phone, so...
Yeah, SMSing, constantly SMSing.
Netbook, laptop, PC at home. So we're always very well connected. We're always talking to each other. It's so connected these days.
Yeah, I talk to my friends more online than I do in person, which can be dangerous, I forget, how does he sound like in person?
I don't know what skin feels like anymore.
Because the internet is changing Asia's media, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the Asia Media Program of the German Konrad Adenauer Foundation recently held a conference for online journalists, media managers, and bloggers to discuss how they can take advantage of these developments.
The traditional media have to change the way they produce. They have to open up towards online content, towards online devices, to mobile content, but they actually do. People here, no matter if representatives from the new media or if you speak with traditional journalists or media owner of newspapers and broadcasting services, they do no longer speak about a battle between, let's say, paper and internet or traditional media and digital media, because they both use it. They consider it a platform, no matter if it is on paper or on mobile phone or if it is on your computer screen. That's no longer an issue here.
I'm really interested to see how different countries are at different stages of the online news business. I'm very interested to see what kind of models work in their markets and what don't work.
Before the schedule was even published, representatives from traditional media like TV and newspapers were already signing up. They realized the need to adapt to the online challenge.
6 years ago, I was asked the question, must you know online journalism to become a good journalist? My answer then was no. If you ask me the same question today, my answer will be yes. It is now a requirement to learn these skills because new formats, the audience, and reach of media are changing.
Fast reaction is one of these key skills for journalists to survive in the new media environment. Unlike traditional media, online news is published and updated all the time.
I think speed is very important. You know, we're all living in the now generation. Everybody wants news now.
Online is so fast, people pick it up within a few seconds.
Yeah, you can share and spread the links faster, share news faster with your friends.
With traditional media, for print especially, you're tied to a print product, whereas with online, you can really report and you can break news much faster.
Yes, so it's within a matter of seconds, it's up and it's out there and it's going throughout the whole world.
In this changing landscape, people crave for fast information. I mean, delivered fast and immediate, real-time news. So I think that's the importance of blogging and online journalism in general.
To spread and receive news as fast as possible, many journalists are now on Twitter. This microblogging site attracts 400,000 new users every day.
I spend a lot of time on Twitter, so any chance that I get to update myself on what's going on, first choice would be Twitter. Twitter allows us to get something out quickly. It allows us to pull in a community based on a hashtag, and it really allows us to reach an audience quickly.
Via Twitter and mobile internet, anything can become a worldwide topic instantly, including the discussions at this very conference.
Twitter for me is a great platform to get people, not just within the conference itself, to have a conversation about what's going on, but it attaches us to a bigger ecosystem of other users and other people's followers. So it's a chance for us to bring in other people who are interested in the same topic and get their opinions on things.
While Twitter messages are limited to 140 characters, there is no such limitation for blogs. They allow everyone to publish opinions and stories in detail. Many Asian journalists take advantage of that.
I'm Iris Gonzalez. I work for the Philippine Star. It's a Manila-based newspaper. It's a daily broadsheet. I cover economic news, so that's what I do every day. I'm a print reporter. I've been blogging since 2006, mostly for the stories that wouldn't make it to my newspaper. Like different stories I encountered during assignments, mostly human interest stories or the stories behind the news. That's basically how I got into this whole blogosphere.
Some bloggers came all the way from Europe. Winning a European blogging contest allowed them to share ideas and experiences with their Asian counterparts.
My name is Claire Herbert. I'm an Irish blogger. I blog on my own personal site, which is claireherbert.ie. My professional life, I'm a freelance journalist and a blogging and development consultant. For me, the real joy in blogging is the conversation with the readers, so it's more about the quality of the readers than the quantity of them. And it's also been very useful for me in finding freelance journalism opportunities, which means that it's kind of a launch pad for me to reach wider audiences through the mainstream media.
I believe blogging is important because it gives you an additional outlet to write stories that do not make it to the mainstream media.
I don't think blogs will ever replace the mainstream media, and particularly the news media. If I want hard news, I would never go to a blog. But I think bloggers have a unique voice in terms of opinion making, in terms of activism. If there's a particular blogger that I'm interested in, I will always read their opinions on whatever the current affairs of the day.
Facing up to the online challenge is not just for the new generation. Journalists trained in traditional media also adapt and even lead the way.
I started off in traditional classic media with broadcast. So I did that for about 4 years. And I realized that towards the end of it, I myself was watching less and less TV, so I felt my interest for traditional broadcast kind of waning.
When I started my career, and I was the first to work on the computer, when we started page making on the computers, I was the first one to do that. So I'm always ready to learn new things. And I've been associated with print, broadcast and online, and now it's all been converging into new media.
I spent most of my career in television as a TV producer for breaking news stories and whatnot. The big change for me happened when the Mumbai attacks were happening, and I was putting up a live show. I was running a live show at the time, and just realizing at that very moment that the updates to that story were no longer coming from traditional sources like newswires, but instead people were tweeting on their phones about what was happening in the hotels themselves. And that for me was a big change in mindset. I suddenly realized that traditional media had gotten stuck in where it was and just needed to find a way to expand the way it was looking at things.
Probably nowhere in Asia have traditional media expanded online as widely as in Singapore. Singapore's biggest newspaper, the Straits Times, is leading the way into cyberspace. One of its most successful online projects is Razor TV.
Yo, what up? It's Razor Pop lah!
People in general are quite curious creatures, and so we are kind of satisfying their need to know.
When users themselves are satisfying this need and upload their own videos, it's called citizen journalism. Singapore's online news show for that is Ground Zero.
Hello everyone, I'm Sean.
And I'm Sarah NK, and welcome to another episode of Ground Zero.
The show that brings you the
Sean and Sarah are the internet stars for a new generation of users who do not rely on the printed Straits Times to get their news.
More than 80% of students don't read newspapers anymore. They actually go online to get their news. And I think that is the increasing trend. So for a newspaper as big as the Straits Times, going with the times, that is the direction we have to take, because no matter what, we can't be a dinosaur of the past. We have to live in the present and, look toward the future.
The Straits Times belongs to Singapore Press Holdings, like almost all other Singaporean newspapers. Establishing a whole lineup of online news brands, this huge traditional media organization has invested massively to keep the users from looking for news elsewhere.
Can you run it again from the top? Let me see. Singaporeans are basically news junkies. They do enjoy their news. A lot of people are actually very comfortable getting news from digital medium, be it an iPhone or iPad or any other portable device. So it's just about us trying to satisfy that need for knowing the news. It's just that the medium has changed slightly. It's just moving away from traditional mediums like print and TV to more portable means of actually watching the news.
This was the exact same spot where the second act of vandalism happened to this car. After spraying two
It's visual, so when you break visual news online, you get the viewers really quick. When there were some major flash floods here in Singapore a couple of weeks ago, and we got our cameraman onto location within 20 minutes, and we had the news story up within an hour. People really found value in that.
So have you ever seen Orchard flooded like that?
Ever, this is first time. This is a surprise.
What was your first reaction when you saw something like that? Shock.
Yeah, really shocking.
Youngsters are getting a shorter and shorter attention span. So video, actually seeing the news, actually seeing visually how you tell a story, I think it'll keep the interest longer, Because it's an online medium and because it's a visual medium, right? So we're kind of like the middleman between your spokespersons or between your newsmakers and the layman in the crowd. So we can't be too, our language can't be too sophisticated.
With informal language, a young staff, and an unconventional workplace atmosphere, where does that leave traditional journalistic quality standards?
All my journalists, they all have to take the same strict writing test that the print journalists might have to. So in terms of their background, they've already got that journalistic background. And the way we source the news story is no different. We make sure we double check, we triple check our sources. I mean, accuracy is of utmost importance. It's just that the delivery, we deliver it in a far more informal way. So it doesn't mean that it's informal, it's any less credible. It's just the way we package our content.
Compared to many Western societies and some other countries in Asia, media in Singapore, also online media, consider anything taboo that might lead to ethnic or religious conflicts.
In terms of news that we don't cover, we stay away from religion especially because it's a sensitive topic here in Singapore. And we are a multiracial, multicultural country, so we generally stay away from that. Part of our policy. But we do cover politics because that is again what Singaporeans are interested in, but we always make sure we cover it in a fair and balanced manner.
In the country next door, media also have to be careful about what they report. Malaysia strives hard to be as modern and successful as Singapore. Like its neighbor, it also has an ethnically diverse population. And its biggest newspaper has also gone online big time. The Star recently opened a studio for their online TV show, creating a space for fans to show up in person for concerts and live broadcasts.
Singapore, they are totally running new media. The print is running new media, total full swing, multimedia to the core. Means every aspect of social media they are practicing. And we thought this is where we should be moving in Malaysia.
An MCA constitution is very clear.
The Star's online videos are not only promoted on the web, but also in the printed newspaper right next to the TV program. A lot of the content, again, is fashion and lifestyle. When it comes to politics, a Western style of press freedom does not exist.
Basically, well, I would say stories are pro-government. Okay, of course, we try to balance as much as possible, but the independence of journalism, I think you guys understand. Okay, so unlike the Western countries, where freedom of expression and freedom of speech is way up there. Yeah, so we have got loads more of limits and regulations here in Malaysia. So yeah, so we actually abide by all that.
Many Malaysians do not trust their traditional media. To get really independent information, they have to go online. Several websites do report uncensored and critical information about society and politics from within Malaysia.
Malaysia Kini came to existence very much so because in the 90s, the government pledged not to censor the internet, to create a new sort of a new space in the internet. So that's why we launched malaysiakini.com. We're only online, we're not in print, and because there is no censorship or strict regulations covering the internet, we were able to publish more independent news. We have about 300,000 visitors a day, about 1.6 million unique IPs a month. We serve in 4 languages, and the main languages are English, Chinese and Malay. So it's about a third in each of these languages and a little bit in Tamil. The whole spread of internet news, particularly Malaysia Kini and other media, led to dramatic changes in the 2008 general elections, where the opposition won in 5 states on the west coast of Malaysia for the first time in 50 years. So for the first time since independence, we have kind of an emerging two-party political system, and Malaysia Kini has played a major role in sort of creating the information space for this to happen.
A development like that is what journalists in Cambodia are still hoping for. On most Cambodians' list of priorities, online news is near the bottom. After decades of chaos and isolation, this country is only just beginning to catch up with its Asian neighbors. Still, Cambodia Express News has set out to establish itself as the first source for online news in Khmer. Until now, Cambodia's language had not been used on many websites.
We want to start first. That means we want to start before the other people. And we believe that if we don't start, we cannot go. So we start. And we believe that the next generation, the next Cambodian generation, they have the opportunity to access the internet. But the price of computer, the price of electricity, the price of the internet fee, limit them, and when the economy is better, they can access more. I believe that the economy development, the internet access and the freedom of expression, they link to each other.
At Phnom Penh's Royal University, tomorrow's journalists who will profit from these developments are already being trained. Like all over Asia, these young people have adapted to the internet, reaching out to the world unlike any Cambodian generation before them.
Most of my students, they have their own blog, they use a lot of Facebook, and I think they do more searching, so I think they're more up to date than me. Yeah. Sometimes I have to learn from them.
I have an account in Facebook and I make a lot of friends from, the other country.
I really meet so many friends on Facebook, and when we meet on outside and we want to keep contact, we ask for Facebook account, and we can keep contact on using Facebook. And I have many friends in foreign country.
Supporting Cambodia's opening to the world, the Konrad Adenauer Foundation has helped to set up the Department of Media and Communication and continues to support it. The goal is to ensure the future quality of journalism education in Cambodia.
In the future, we have to catch up with the world, so we have to, step by step, we have to change, from classic media to new kind of media, yeah.
But for now, classic media, newspapers, TV, are still the way most Cambodians get their information. And there is almost no news at all in rural areas.
The people in the province, they just ignore the news because they're just doing agriculture and they're doing their housework and they don't care what's happening.
We believe that online newspaper will have a very, very important role in the Cambodian society. But now, the problem is how long we can survive before that situation happens.
The problem of survival is common to most online media in Asia. Many have to be heavily subsidized by their mother companies. There is just not enough money coming in yet.
While we know what audiences want and how audiences are using news, we haven't figured out how to make that a sustainable business yet.
Stomp and Razor are not profitable right now, but just part of our organization's plan to dominate the online space. Right now there aren't a lot of models in terms of profit-making websites, but we have to be here.
We're still very new, it's been a year and a half, so people come and ask us, what is our revenue, are we making money, and what are our business model? We say we don't know. This is just a first-time idea. We just went into it, and now we're just doing this.
Until now, we've been funded by some donors, but we have to make it sustainable. So we need to go for good marketing skills, and there may be other tools also to market the thing and get a revenue through Google ads or things like that.
The goal is really to find a sustainable business model, because that's exactly what we all need.
At least he claims to have found such a business model. Malaysia Kini, with its uncensored news, stands out in Malaysia. And many users are willing to pay money to read the whole story.
Our subscription model has attracted a lot of attention. Malaysia Kini's subscription model, which we launched in 2002, really we asked our readers to provide a contribution, a yearly subscription to Malaysia Kini. And we will be able to attract at the moment about 8% of our audience buys a subscription to our English language edition. So that's been very innovative, and through having this subscription model, we have been able to generate a little bit of profit to keep ourselves going.
Once online news actually becomes profitable, traditional media could lose even more profits and market share. Could printed newspapers soon be a thing of the past?
I like getting the ink from newspapers on my fingers still, but if I like a particular thing, I actually go online and check out more about it, see what other people have had to say about it. I think personally, I actually don't watch classic media anymore. If we're talking about that, I watch everything online. I read online, I watch videos online, and I think increasingly that is the trend, especially with younger people these days. We don't really need newspapers, TV anymore.
I think newspapers and online media will always coexist. 10 years down the road, newspapers may not be that popular anymore, but it will stay because some people, like especially the older population, they don't want to. It's like the e-books. They still want to stick to the books and holding something tangible, not reading it facing their computer. So I think it will stay.
It's going to be a case of, say, TV versus radio. When TV first arrived, everyone thought that would be the end of radio, but it wasn't the case. Radio was just a different distribution channel. People would listen to radio while driving to the office, while doing housework at home. So online media is going to be a different channel altogether, right? It's not going to replace newspaper. I don't think it will, and I hope it doesn't. But the fact is, people will be consuming online news in a very different way, primarily through mobile phones. So it's really a change of distribution more than a replacement of what was already out there.
As online media get more popular and gain more influence, they not only change the way people in Asia get their news, they may also become a driving force behind the fundamental changes taking place in many Asian societies.
Since the online media is more free, it can be used to air whatever type of expression, whatever type of comment you want to give.
Internet is not limited. I can provide only 24 pages per day through my newspaper. But now I have a million of pages in my internet.
One vital tool in any democracy is information, access to information, and the more information you have, the more democratic you can get.
A really good and interesting case study, I guess, would be in Indonesia, where a lot of the cabinet ministers are on Twitter. And they spend a lot of time having conversations with each other on Twitter in an open arena, which is incredibly interesting for democracy and an incredibly great way for online communities to be a part of that conversation.
As the audience generally shifts to the digital media as opposed to print and broadcast, you're going to see more people sort of be active online and express themselves online and use the internet medium.
By this way, they can change everything, change their daily living, change their knowledge about political, about everything, and the society will change.